Here we have the inside of the Elddis Majestic 105. If we firstly come to the main control panel just here, this button just here is the main 12 volt switch. If I now press this, 12 volt off, and if I press it again, 12 volt back on again. Beside that, we then have the water pump on and off. Whenever the water pump is actually in operation, the green light will illuminate, just to let you know. Next we have the main isolator switch for all of the onboard lights. They can then all be individually turned on and off on their own switches. We then have the awning light on and off. Condition of the leisure battery and how much fresh water is in the tank. Beneath that we then have the control panel for the whale heating and hot water. The top one is for hot water and the bottom one is for heating, and you'll see as I begin to press the button it will then illuminate all these different icons until eventually turning back off again. If we start with the first icon just here, little picture of a snowflake. This is the boiler's frost protection mode. So if there's water in the boiler but you don't necessarily want to be draining it, you can put it on this mode here, and if the external temperature drops below about 3-4 degrees, it will come on to protect frost damage. Next we have a single wavy line. Wavy lines represent mains electricity. So we are now heating hot water up via the mains using about a kilowatt. We then have two wavy lines, so 2 kilowatts. If we don't have main supply, we can highlight the flame and use gas. After that we then have dual fuel mode, which is extremely handy, especially in the winter months if you want to get up to temperature nice and quickly. So we're now using gas and mains at 1 kilowatt and gas and mains at 2 kilowatts. Whenever the unit is actually consuming gas, you will get a little flame illuminate just in the corner here to let you know. And if it fails on either mains or gas, or there's any other problem with the boiler, you will get a red exclamation mark appear just here. If that happens, what you then need to do is just hold this button down, and then you will get a series of little red lines, and depending on how many there are depicts the problem. You then just need to look in the manual and it will let you know. 9 times out of 10, as long as you rectify the problem, we can then reset the control panel and it will then work absolutely fine. The way we reset it is, if you've had a red exclamation mark for the boiler, hold the boiler button in and then press the plus button at the same time, and then the error code will clear. If it's for the heater, exactly the same again. Firstly, find out what the problem is just by holding the heater button in, and you'll get a series of the little red lines again. And then once you think you've rectified the problem, hold the button in and then press the plus button at the same time. For the heating, it works virtually the same as your hot water. So you'll see, again, series of icons until it eventually ends back up and off. Obviously, we don't have frost protection because this is a heater. So we have one wavy line first of all, and again, that's main supply, but this time using about 500 watts. We then have two wavy lines, which is 1 kilowatt, and then 3 wavy lines, which is about 2 kilowatts. So just dependent on the ampage of the site that you're on to stop yourself from tripping. After that, we then have gas on its own, and then dual fuel again. We control the temperature on the plus and the minus, like so. And again, if we are consuming gas, we will get a little flame just appear here. Whale recommend dropping the thermostat right the way down to the little moon symbol here if you need your heating on whilst you're asleep. A, it's a low heat, but secondly, the fan will not be too noisy. And if it is just a hot day and you just want to circulate the air, all you then need to do is just drop it down to the little snowflake here, and it will then just circulate air. Next, if we open the front up just here, we have underneath here the consumer unit. So we have all the trip switches all along the top, and they are all labelled up, letting you know what each individual MCB is. Then we have the main RCD and the test button in the top corner. We then have the 12 volt fuses, and again they're all labelled up, so if there's a problem, that's just your first port of call. And lastly, we have the isolator switch for the automatic tank heaters. So the fresh tank and the waste tank have heaters. If there is water in the tanks and the temperature outside drops below 3-4 degrees and this switch is in the on position, they will then come on to prevent frost damage. We can isolate them if we don't want them to come on at all, just by flicking the switch. Also underneath here we have the water pump just on the back wall there. We also have the back of the battery box and the main 25 amp fuse, and we also have the boiler drain in here. The boiler drain is a yellow lever that we just need to turn to the side to drain the water out. All we need to do is make sure that the boiler is not running, as it were, so we're not heating it up. But secondly, we also have the water pump turned off, and then we just need to literally turn this to the side to drop the water out of the boiler. To fill it back up again, put it back in the position it is now. Make sure you have water in the fresh tank, turn the water pump on, and it will then begin to prime it back up again. Next we have the hob. So we have one electric hot plate that works off main supply and operates just on this dial here. Red light comes on to let you know it's on, and then everything else is gas, and it's just push in, twist, and then come down to the igniter just here. So if we just fire these up, so I'm just going to rest this just here a moment and then just fire them all. There we are. And then if we drop down to the oven itself, we push in to the left for the oven, and then push in to the right for the grill. Beneath the oven we have the gas isolation taps just here. They're all in the on position and can stay like that. I always say if you smell gas in the van, go to the source and turn the gas bottle off. We also have a plug plugged in here, which is for the electric hot plate. We have the microwave above. As it states here, do make sure that the contents are removed for travel. And then it behaves like most microwaves do. We have quick start just here and stop, power setting, wait time, defrost, etc. just there, and we can just set the timer just here. The Dometic fridge operates on this dial here, so we're off at the moment. We then have main supply, 12 volt maintain for when we are driving, and gas. If we're going to use it on gas, we then come across to the temperature control just here, and basically what we want is this orange line here to drift out of the white into the green. So we hold the temperature control in and push the igniter, and as you can see it's now lit and running on gas, and then we just adjust the temperature to whatever we wish. To open the door, just push down like so. We do have a venting point for when we're not using the fridge. Just slightly push in and then slide this part out here, and it will then hold the door on a jar. Above my head we then have the PIR sensor for the alarm. It's a good idea just to press the button every now and then just to check that it's working, as it is wireless and does require a couple of batteries. The alarm itself operates from the fob just here. So if I now lock the motorhome, we will get a single chirp to let us know that it's locked and the alarm is armed. And when I unlock it, we get a double chirp to let you know that the van is unlocked and the alarm is disarmed. What we can also do is actually set the alarm so it's armed on the outside, but we disarm this internal sensor here, and we also disarm the PIRs in the front. So if we want to sleep in it with the alarm on or leave a pet inside, what we then do is we arm it and get the single chirp, and then we press it for a second time and we will get a high-pitched chirp to let you know you put it in to what is known as pet friendly mode. As soon as I unlock it again, it will then just go back to normal. Also above my head we have the Omnivent fan just here. To use, just wind to open the vent up. We can then turn the unit on the middle button, and then we have arrows out for extraction and arrows in for cooling. Variable fan speed just by pressing. And then make sure that before you travel, the reef vents are closed. We have TV bracket just here, and then aerial point, 12 volt and main socket. If we now go into the wardrobe, in here we have the solar panel regulator just up here. At the moment you will see it's flashing green quite rapidly. That's just letting us know that there's virtually no UV light hitting the panel, or none at all, which is highly likely as I am filming this inside our workshop. Whenever it is popping a charge in to the battery, it will steadily flash green, and when the battery is fully charged you will get a solid green light appear. Beneath that we then have the digital amplifier for the television aerial. You'll see the dial in the middle just controls the boost, and then there is also a little switch just here to turn it on and off. The TV aerial mast just sits here, and all we do is undo it just by this part here, and then we can then raise the mast back up again by just pushing it, getting it into the position we want, and then locking it into place. We can then also, by turning the tail just here, flip it from the horizontal position to the vertical. Do make sure that the aerial is down for travel. Also in here we have the freestanding table, and we have the awning winding handle and the mains hookup lead. We then have the washroom here, so we have the shower and the basin. We then have the Thetford toilet. So to open to the cassette, just slide here. To flush, just push the blue button on the top and then close back up again just here. If this has been left in the open position and you try to remove the cassette, it will not come out. So if you are having any resistance, just come in here and make sure that nobody's left the flap open. Level indicator just here, so it will illuminate to let you know when the cassette needs emptying.